Welcome to One Awesome Autistic, where I talk about all sorts of different autistic topics. I wanted to talk about something that's been in the news recently, so I wanted to talk about Reid. So I'm going to do a little bit of backstory on who Alex is, for those that don't know, particularly anybody not in the UK might not know who he is, and why this is kind of relevant to my channel, Autism and Autistic People. Reid started off primarily as an MMA fighter. He's done some kind of bit parts in TV and stuff like that as well. Primarily he was an MMA fighter. He got catapulted to a certain level of fame because of the media, and that's because he married Katie Price, and Katie Price, especially at that time, was just tabloid darling because they loved to write about her. She was kind of fresh from her divorce of Peter Andre when she married Reid. It became a whole thing. The tabloids were never very kind, let's say, to Katie Price. They never have been, and therefore they weren't particularly kind to Alex as well at that time. He then got more fame for kind of being himself because he went on the 7th series of Celebrity Big Brother and he was booed going into the house. However, he turned the public around on their opinion of him and he actually won the series. Now that was back in 2010, so obviously 11 years later he's kind of been, doing his own thing. He's not really been in the papers a lot. On the 2nd of March 2021, Reid was actually in the paper giving an interview to say that at the age of 45 he has recently been diagnosed as autistic. Which you're probably thinking, well, what's so important about that? Lots of people are diagnosed autistic. Well, there's a couple of reasons why I personally feel it's important and wanted to talk about it. It's somebody in the public eye who is talking about it. So it brings more recognition and more publicity around autism in a positive manner. It brings it more into the mainstream. It makes more people aware of what it actually is and that it's not just something as well to be diagnosed with as a child. But what I thought was great was actually the way Reid spoke about his life, his childhood and his diagnosis, and he also mentions some issues surrounding autism which a lot of us have been talking about for years, but it is somebody getting it out there even more. He touches on masking, which is obviously really well known by autistic people but may not be known by a lot of neurotypical people. He talks about how he doesn't like terms that are labelling like high functioning, but also how that isn't effective to describe an autistic person. It's too kind of like small and in a box where it's actually a complicated issue. He also encourages people to seek diagnosis as well if they think they're autistic. So that you can read the full article and see exactly what he says, I'll pop a link in the description below. That way you can read it at your leisure. I don't want to go through the full article because that will just be a little too boring, but it is a good article to read and it's one of the best representations of autism in any kind of media platform that I personally have actually seen. There are a few terms used in it that are a little bit problematic, but that's more actually the person writing the article and not anything to do with what Alex has said at all. There's nothing problematic that I've found in what Alex has said about autism, about his life, and about how he discovered that he is autistic. He articulated himself very well, he got his point across, he got his message across in a way that is understandable by anyone, not just autistic people, but also can be very easily understood by somebody that doesn't really have a clue about what autism is. It's obvious that he's become very knowledgeable about autism and especially how that affects himself in such a short space of time. So I've got to commend him for that he has gone out there and done his research on it. Not that I think Reid will ever watch this, but if he does, I just kind of want to welcome him to the club because it's such a nurturing, welcoming place, and the realisation of knowing what is wrong with you and why you find things so difficult is such a revelation. and that's what comes across in the article as well. I know in the article that you talk about not really fitting in with groups, but I really hope that getting this diagnosis means that you have finally found your tribe and somewhere to fit in. And I want to thank you for speaking out about your experience and being so open and honest about such vulnerable topics. For anyone else out there who's read Alex's interview, if you've got any opinions or comments on it, just pop them in the comment box below. And I want to thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.